The eyes have it. The vast amounts of what we take in and formed as memories comes through our eyes. True, we take in sounds, smells, taste, and touch, but the overwhelming amount of memory is formed by the eyes. However, what we choose to focus on and what draws our attention in any given moment determines much of that memory. Research has shown that when people are shown a picture and then recall the details of that picture, they often miss some very important details. Researchers say it is the brain's way of not becoming overwhelmed by information. In layman's terms, we call this TMI, too much information. At least that's what my daughter tells me when I begin a story. Training the brain to focus on important things is very possible. It is what makes law enforcement detectives good at their job, the ability to observe details of a crime or an accident, or any situation whereby we must reconstruct the scene to find a cause or develop suspects or fill in details perhaps missing. Right now, I may have reached that saturation point where some are thinking, TMI. But there is a reason why this information is pertinent to you and me. You see, as disciples, we are told to be watchful and vigilant. Furthermore, we are told what to be watchful and vigilant about. But it takes work. It takes training. It takes practice. For instance, Peter tells us, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. 1 Peter 5:8. Okay, so I must be watchful for the devil. How? What do I look for? Paul says in his letter to the church at Corinth, so that we would not be outwitted by Satan, for we're not ignorant of his designs. 2 Corinthians 2:1. Now, we not only know to be watchful for the devil, but Paul tells us that we are not ignorant of his designs, his schemes, his devices. But what are they? Well, I'm glad you asked. Consider the devices Satan used in the Garden of Eden with Eve, and then think of the scheme he used to try to bring down Jesus in the wilderness. And the same design was used for Paul's thorn in the flesh in 2 Corinthians 12:7. What do they have in common? John the Apostle reveals this in his first letter. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and the pride in possessions, is not from the Father, but is from the world. 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 and 16. Here is what we should be watchful for in our lives. Number 1, the lust of the flesh, that which appeals to the carnal and physical appetite. We have natural needs that need to be met. These are not in question. It is when the illicit desires become our master. Gluttony for food, fornication for sexual desires. Paul says, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be enslaved by anything. Food is meant for the stomach, and the stomach for food, and God will destroy both one and the other. The body is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 12 through 13. Second, the lust of the eyes. Among these are that which under the old law would be called covetousness. Bigger house, fancier car, neighbor's wife, power, wealth. Solomon had some trouble with this. Consider, all things are full of weariness. A man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 8. Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and never satisfied are the eyes of man. Proverbs 27:20. And third, the pride of life, that which sets one above others. Haughtiness, arrogance, pride. I have achieved this. I have done that. Look at me. Consider Nebuchadnezzar's downfall. At the end of 12 months, he, Nebuchadnezzar, was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. And the king answered and said, Is not this great Babylon, which I have built with my mighty power, as a royal residence, and for the glory of my majesty? Daniel chapter 4, verses 29 through 30. Haman had a similar problem with arrogance and pride. And when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage to him, Haman was filled with fury. Esther chapter 3, verse 5. So, train your eyes to see these and be warned against them. The trained eye is a valuable life tool and a valuable life-saving device. See and live. And those are our thoughts for today.